What's up guys, my name's Levi and this is Shred Shop, connecting you to skateboarding. And today, we're gonna do a first look at the Bronson Speedco Ceramic Bearings. NHS sent us a box, and guess what? We're gonna check them out. We open the box, looks like they got a Ricky Bobby ripoff thing. If you ain't fast, you're last. Got a dope bandana, got the Bronson Ceramics, got a sticker, got a little poster in there. We got Jamie Foy and Zion Wright on the inside there, saying it's really cool, looking like Goombas, but I'm sure they're dope. What we're gonna do is we're gonna test these things. It is wintertime in Canada, so that means we got snow up to our knees, but some people shovel some dry spots, slushy, dusty, muddy. We're gonna see if they can handle the good winter and still keep going fast. We'll let you know in a few weeks. It says this package is also a bearing cleaning unit. So it's meant for cleaning the bearings with instructions on the inside. So I'm sure we can figure that out. But they got a dope stack of the bearings. When you take a look at the bearings, orange or red ring around there. The other side is all black and it's embossed Bronson Speedco on there. Looks kind of dope. It says ceramics on there. You're not going to see any of this stuff once it's on your truck. What really matters is whether they work or not. Yeah, they look pretty dope. We'll have to figure out how they work and how they get cleaned on the inside there. Sweet. But we got speed rings, you got spacers, and your bearings, the whole run. Should be dope. So, as we said before, I got these bearings. I rode them for a month. We're going to get into the tech. I'm going to review how well they skated, and we're going to find out if they're good and worth their money. We're in Canada. I took these bearings, I put them in a board, and it's wintertime, so we didn't really have any choice besides riding them in the wintertime. For all you Canadians, it was about minus 15 degrees Celsius. For you Americans or anyone else, it was about 5 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're riding them in the crazy cold, riding them through the slush because the salt melts the snow, and we're riding them in the snow on the concrete, really pushing them to the test to see if they're good and they're worthwhile. This is the board that I put the bearings in. You can see I rode them for a month, they are dirty, and get this, I've never cleaned them, and look how well they still spin. That's through the snow, through the slush. Yes, they have some wear and tear, but they should be rusted out by now. I haven't cleaned them at all. The first thing, when I set them up, they were fast, they were smooth. I rode them through all sorts of weather, I jumped off stuff. I was trying to actually beat them and see if the ceramics held up and see how well they did, and they did actually very well. The cool thing about Bronson is they actually have an R&D lab in-house. So when they're testing bearings and they want to change certain things, they didn't have to send away notes over to China and get them fixed and try the new ones. They did it all in-house. And get this, with all the testing and tweaking, it still took 3 years to get them to where they are today. The key thing, the main selling feature that they've told us after putting all the bearings to testing is that they're faster than Bone Swiss ceramics and they're half the price. I don't know the American prices, but I do know that in Canada, Bone Swiss ceramics are now $240 Canadian for a set of bearings. And these Bronson ceramics come in under $100 at around $96. Way less than half. And a reminder, that's CAD, Canadian dollars, not USD. If you don't know anything about Bronson bearings, when they came onto the scene, they redesigned bearings altogether. They changed the cage, the raceway, everything about the bearing. It was called the G3. That is why they got so popular. That's why they blew up. Now, all this time, they have the Bronson Ceramic Bearings, which is basically a G3, but ceramic. So it's all redesigned based off other bearings, and it rips. The first thing we gotta mention when we talk about these bearings is the high-density ceramic balls. The process in how they make these ceramic balls is called HIPS, Hot Isostatic Pressure Sintered. Now, the way that the ball bearings are measured in strength is called a crush load. They basically press it until they see it explodes. The Bronson ceramics have a way bigger crush load. They have the highest crush load on any bearings in the skate market. Keep that in mind. So what does that mean? That means the ball bearings are super hard, super dense, and super durable, which means you're going to be able to push these bearings to the limit and they're not going to break like crazy. These bearings also have the same tech that the Bronson G3 bearings have, which is the tech that Bronson is famous for, and so we're going to go over that too. The first thing to mention about the Bronson tech is the deep groove raceways. That's basically on a regular bearing, your ball bearing inside the casing would sit like this, and maybe deeper groove in a Bronson one is like this. So when you're smashing your board back and forth, you're hitting ledges, you're trying the same trick over and over, and you're smashing it into the ledge, a regular bearing might explode over time. With a G3 bearing or a Bronson bearing, it's going to have way more torsional strength from side to side because it's going to keep that ball bearing in there for the deep groove raceways. The next thing that Bronson bearings feature is the straight edge frictionless shield. It's basically sitting snug in against the ball bearings, keeping oil in and keeping dirt and debris out. So you have a faster, cleaner spinning bearing. Inside Bronson bearings, they have this thing called micro groove raceways. Basically, there are these tiny little grooves in behind the ball bearings that allow for oil to move more freely, which makes your bearing spin faster, and it makes it so that oil doesn't build up and get stuck in a certain area. Last thing that's cool to note is every time you buy a pair of Bronson bearings or you see them on the counter at a skate shop is that they're sealed in plastic wrap. They call it their nitrogen fused shrink wrap. So basically, regular shrink wrap has oxygen in it, and when the oil in bearings reaches oxygen, it can get stale over time. So if a pair of bearings has been sitting on the counter for 2 years, you might buy it and it might be fragile or it might break faster. With the Bronson ones, there is no expiration date because there's nitrogen inside the shrink wrap, keeping the oil from oxidizing and going stale. That's it for the tech on the Bronson bearings. But like I said before, I loved how they rode. I rode them hard and they went fast, which I loved. I'm pretty hard on my boards, I'm pretty hard on my complete, and these things didn't break under pressure, which is dope. And the case that the bearings come in is actually set up to clean your bearings in. So if you ride them through slush like an idiot like me, you can put them in there, then you take isopropyl, which you have to get from your pharmacist, and fill in there, and you shake it up and let it sit for a few minutes. Then you pull it off, dump it out, and you keep doing that process 3 or 4 times until the alcohol comes out clean. Then the bearings are clean and nice and you can put them back on your board. Alcohol won't rust because alcohol evaporates, so you don't have to worry about that. These bearings are dope, and obviously they've thought about all of the stuff for you so you don't have to think about that. I would say they're worth the buy, especially if you're buying bearings just once a season. They're really good. If you're gonna buy these bearings and you're gonna invest in great bearings for your board, make sure you guys are buying them at local skate shops. Avoid the mall, avoid big box stores, because we wanna keep skateboarding alive and keep skateboarding culture alive. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Levi, this is Shred Shop, connecting you to skateboarding, and these were the Bronson Ceramic Bearings, our review and our test. It was so good, we love them. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Levi, Shred Shop, connecting you to skateboarding. As always, if you want to support us, the best way to do that is to like, comment, and subscribe. I know it sounds cheesy, but it helps us bringing you the content that you need, and we get stoked making these videos.